All right, good morning, everyone. It's Trader Rob. Actually, let's just jump right into the charts because we got an interesting little level here on the ES. I'm going to tell you why. I would consider this probably a B plus setup at the 6677. The only reason why I don't like it as an A plus setup is we do have a lot of volume sitting right here. I mean, just an absolute ton from the 77 to the 80s. So it might want to tap into the bigger, I shouldn't say the bigger volume, but we might get a volume spike right through stop loss here. And if you see on the volume profile, it's not, I would like to see it right here on this peak, to be honest with you. So I'm going to take a look and see on the footprint confirmation and see maybe if we get some kind of footprint confirmation at the 6677, which would kind of represent to me that that's an area that the market wants to rebalance. And then obviously my TPs at the 6674 and the 6671. There is an A plus setup that's brewing right now, right up here. This is obviously a lot more in line with what I am looking for on my volume profile. So this shaded area, the bigger one right here, that's just kind of encapsulating where the volume is obviously starting to pick up. And where I'm really interested in is at this peak right here. So if I take a look for a possible entry, I'd be looking at right, you know what, let me go down right here. So I'd be looking for an entry right around here-ish. And finally got, I think, these labels to work, so it should be a little bit easier on stream to see. All right, and then as far as TPs are concerned, we can take this part off. And we've got, I would think, a pretty easy TP right around here. Call it the 9150, and that's going to be a TP. Let me watch this. Let me see what happens here really quick. All right, so we got that rejection off that first TP1. We had a strong reaction to my TP2, which is all normal. That's all based on where the volume is obviously sitting at. Let's see what let's see if we find something here this morning. Gotta find that TP2. Got a little pullback there. TP2 I would be looking at right here. Okay, so we've got two setups on the ES currently to the short. So the one I'm looking at that I would consider this to be like a B, maybe B plus setup, 6677, very strongly defended right here, but also very strongly defended right here, almost right at my stop loss, which is the reason why I grade this one to like a B plus. Now this setup up here at the 6694, this coincides pretty perfect with what exactly I'm looking for. Entry right at the right before the peak of the volume profile. I've got very good protection between my entry and my stop loss, the stop loss being at the 66.99. And then I've got pretty easy free flowing This TP might actually have to go right here. That would be a little easier. And I can't stand that these labels don't they don't round to the nearest tick, so I kind of have to do that manually, which bothers the crap out of me. But I guess it would have to go right to there. This is your easiest one, to be honest with you. I feel really good about TP1 and TP2 on that one. So that's one I'm definitely going to be looking at. We'll look at this one at the 6677. And then I think to the downside, I don't think we've got any other setup. Left you guys with the setup yesterday on the ES to take a long, which ended up being a loser. But the interesting thing was, and I wasn't on the charts. I saw it actually when I got home, and I automatically assumed that there was some kind of headline news or something that must have come out, because right when it tapped into our entry, or I should say the minute leading up to our entry, there was an 18-point drop on the ES in less than a minute. It was, and for the ES, that's very extremely unusual, unless you're in a high, in a headline situation, high impact situation. So something must have come out there, because I felt really good about that setup. I mean, that was protected really well. And again, the only thing that can get through my levels, or my, my bands, my levels, or my setups is obviously some kind of headline news. Now, if I was in front of the charts and I saw that type of dramatic drop, again, I'm not typically going in with a limit order, so I probably would have saved myself on that setup in particular. But that setup I left you guys with yesterday on the ES did end up being a loser. So again, what we're looking for on the ES is the 6677 for a short, and a really good setup at the 6694. That's what I'm really interested in. If we jump over to the NQ, let's just go over yesterday, I should say this morning, at about, I think it happened at about 2:15 in the morning. I left my signal service group a setup yesterday at the 24,488. Again, it hit at like 2:15 in the morning, so I was obviously not on the charts, but that one hit TP1 and TP2 on that one as well. So let me delete that one. So we've already talked about that guy. And I believe we've got a setup on the NQ to the upside that we talked about yesterday. So on the NQ to the upside, we've got a possible short. Let me just... Oh, wow. Big rejection off of that. Yeah, I knew it was being defended very strongly, but on the ES, but that was, wow, that was massive. Okay, so we've got a short on the NQ at the 25,231, obviously way above where price action currently is at, with a TP1 of 25,222 and a stop loss of 25,239. Now let's take a look and see if there's any setup on the NQ that we can find here this morning. So we've got one down here. Let me highlight the volume. Let's see what it looks like. So it's in this area. Let me just make sure that I'm on. No, that's not right. No, we should be. Let this recalculate here for a sec. Okay. Now the volume looks right. You can see that that volume sits perfectly in this high volume node. So this is an area that I am interested in. Let's take these away. I don't think I need to do that anymore with the new labels, which is awesome. So now what I can do is let's see if we can refine this a little bit. It was pretty close to where the trade setup was from yesterday. All right, so we would be looking at something. It's not great. It's not great. I'd rather it be somewhere up here. But right up here, we've got a lot of congestion on the lower time frame. So not super interested right now there. Not super interested there yet. I'm going to leave this one just shaded for right now, just to kind of see what I had kind of mapped out as interest. We got this huge candle, which really doesn't help me out much. Let's see what broke structure here. Down here. That's a good 15-minute level. I just can't find a setup there that makes a whole lot of sense. Let's take a look at this 15-minute level right here. Let's see, this is where, yeah, okay. Let me jump down to the 5. All right, so what I see here is right above it. And let's see, if it was a TP, it would be very small. But this is what I see that would be pretty easy to get to. Gotta round these stupid things up again. I get the hang of it. All right. And entry would look something like right here. At the 24,446. That would be my entry. TP1 I already got set. TP2 is set right here. It would be at the 24,457. Load. TP. Okay. And then stop loss would be right around here. That would be at the 50. Let's load that as a stop loss. I could delete this. All right, so let's see what this would kind of look like here. Let's expand this guy out a little bit. All right, so this would be a pretty small scalp. I mean, you've got an entry at the 24,446. TP1 would be at that 24,452, and TP2 would be at the 24,457. On this particular trade, unfortunately, I would probably be targeting TP1. You might get somewhere about 2 or 3 points above this. And again, as price action comes closer, we can kind of narrow in on maybe the TPs just a little bit. So let's follow price action here. Let's take a look at the ES, see what that's doing. All right, it's kind of making a push. Now let me see if anything was left down here. Currently not. And then let me see how it's getting defended right now. So it looks like the defense on this one right here, where volume is stacking up, is the 66.75. So that's where right above this TP1, there is a ton of contracts sitting there right now. We're looking at, wow, the 67 area right here. It's got about 1,100 contracts resting right now. So those might be a lot of stop losses right at the top maybe of this candle or the origination of here, but it's got a ton. So that's typically some really big market volume participants that want to establish a position. And where, again, the bulk of the volume is sitting at is at that 66.77 area. Let's see if I can blow that up. There we go. The 66.76 through like the 81s, super highly defended right now. I'm just worried about a pop through because of the fact that there's so much volume here. Let's see what happens here at the 67. Let's take a look at the 67. There's 2,000 contracts right now sitting between the 67 and the 70, which is unusually very high. So let's see if we blast through it, or if that's a major position staging for a big market participant. Okay. Huge reaction there. Sorry, huge reaction on the order book, obviously, not, you know, necessarily see it on the candle. Let's see if they blow through that. Let me jump down to the 1 minute. All right, so yeah, as you can see, this was kind of the exchange, the auction exchange right here. Buyers still absorbing a lot of those contracts. They've absorbed them all. So all the 2,000 contracts have already been absorbed in the market. So now let's kind of see what they might be tipping their hand here as to initially where they might want to go with in this market. Personally, all the volume sitting right here, so I know that this is the area that they're going to be extremely attracted to. Morgan, good morning. Anthony, good morning. Michael, good morning. Thanks for joining the stream. Hopefully we can take a nice trade here. And again, for those just joining, this would be a B plus setup for me right here at the 66.77. Market just completely went through on the ES about 2,000 contracts that absorbed right here. So now I'm just really interested to see if they're looking for short-term volume for this move. Let me just jump down to, let's see what the footprint's showing us here. My A plus setup would be here at the 66.94. The way that this is being defended right now, I'm not necessarily sure that I'll get up to here, or we will get up to here anytime soon. It's a possibility, but all right, huge move there. Oh shit, that just tapped right into it. That just tapped right into our entry. Let's see if I see anything here. Okay, let's see. I think I like a short here. I'm gonna take a short here and let's see what happens. My trade total is still not going through. And my target was pretty much missed my target there by like a tick. So that's a little unfortunate. And now there's just a lot of volume sitting above me. So they could go in and grab me. That's the likelihood here, unfortunately. This was the initial reaction that I was looking for, which we got, but it was just a lot of volume. Now let's just see if the sellers start stacking up here or not. So far they're defending okay, but not great. I really don't understand why my totals are not showing up. So we got stopped out there. that one sucked. But that was the kind of the worry that I took. I mean, I kind of knew that that was going to be one of the possible outcomes here, was going to be a tapping into volume that was sitting right there. And my initial TP at the 66.74 got missed by like a tick. So a little unfortunate on my side, but I kind of knew the risk going into it, labeling it as a B plus setup there from the get-go. Now I'm going to be extremely interested at this 66.94. I honestly felt like I might not even get the opportunity for this setup, but we'll see. Let's see if we get any type of confirmation here. Let's see. Thanks, Michael, for that news update. Yeah, you could see it just churned through a lot. Now the 85s, which we didn't tap into yet, is again a very strong area. I'm not sure if I'll get to the 66.94, to be honest with you today, but we'll see. That would be the absolute best setup that I see this morning. Just rebalance that area. TP2, to be honest with you, it looks like it really needs to get, they really need to rebalance that. That's what it looks like to me. Might take a little stab here for TP2. Just feel like it's an area that they really need to get tap into. I'm gonna see a little bit of resistance right here for sure. I'm okay with that. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Again by the tick. This is twice. I like to. So they kind of rebalanced there, which is kind of bothering me a little bit, but there we go. Nicely done. All right, so as you guys can see, the that area of TP2 had to get rebalanced. So if you think about it, the actual narration of the setup pretty much happened to the T. The thing I was worried about here, I did get the initial reaction at my entry. I missed obviously TP1 by a tick, so that stunk. But I told you guys that there was just a ton of volume right here being stacked into. So I knew that TP1 had already been kind of balanced out. So the only available volume that the market really needed to balance out was here at the TP2. So good trade. Good trade. All right, let's take these off, and then let's see what other setup we can can find here. Again, on the ES, the absolute great best setup would be at the 6694. That's an A+ setup for me right now. I'm just not necessarily sure that we'll be able to get to it today, just because of the fact that they seem to be really defending right up here. Now let's see what else we can find. All right, so I'm going to wait for price action to see if it can break structure down here on this on this move to the downside. If it moves down here, I would be very interested once again looking into this area right here where we've got this level formed up there. On the NQ, let's take a look at the NQ now. So again, on the NQ, we've got a setup all the way on the top side for a short at the 25,231, targeting the 25,222 with a stop loss of the 25,239. Again, that's market's going to have to do some pretty crazy stuff to get to it. So we'll see here what it wants to do. I think I just do this. All right, now let's see what's going on. All right, so I got a volume area left there. It does not coincide with something that I'd be super interested in on the volume profile side of things. Again, I would want to be somewhere right here. Actually, where price action just kind of rejected would have been a good kind of a decent spot. Let's see. Yeah, the only thing on this move right here would be a really small scalp right here, right at my blue line there. You're gonna see let me go down to the 1 minute here. You're gonna see probably a small reaction right here. Oh, whoa, Jesus, what the hell just happened there? All right, so that reaction was good for about 7 points right off of this line right here that I just marked off. Again, just not in a super strong area that I personally like to see. I like all my conditions. I mean, now that would have given you 10 points. That was a 10-point mover now off that line. So again, I know where the reactions are gonna generally happen. I'm just looking for things that look very familiar to me, and this is just not an area. This is just off of this peak right here on the volume profile, but not really with a lot of defense. As you can see, we're starting to kind of break through it. All right, so I can take this one off. Let's jump in. And did I mark this one off already? Let's see. Yeah, on the downside of volume profile again, once again. But if I was to take a look and see if there's a, oh yeah, there's a nice little juicy level there though. Right there. That would be a possible entry for a scalp. Let's load that up. Entry. Okay. Right here, that would be your stop. TP, that's a pretty nice one right there. I'm just going to give you guys the setups. I give you guys my commentary as to what I like, what I don't like about them. As you can see, majority of the things that I map out are going to have reactions to it. TP. Delete this. Delete this. Okay. So on this particular setup here, on the NQ, playing off of this little peak right here, okay? And again, if I'm looking at it on the big time frame, we're in an area of volume that is not my typical A+ setup. You drop down to the lower time frame, and yes, you are going to see some peaks that you don't see on the higher time frame, because of the fact that it's taking it from a shorter volume period. So for this particular trade, you know, it's playing off of this peak right here, free flow right back into TP1 and TP2. And then your defense, yeah, your defense would probably be something right down here. Probably your best area, but let's see. Maybe we can take a small scalp here. TP1 is about 9 points, so we'll see what the footprint tells us here. Nate, good morning. Krypton, good morning. Key, good morning. All right, so just to give a recap, took 2 trades, took a loser early, pretty much right before the setup occurred. Gave the exact breakdown of why I thought it was a B+ setup, exactly what I thought I was afraid of. I did miss my TP by about a tick on the initial push, which kind of stunk, but the fact that seeing the market clearly is extremely important, and that's the one thing that I feel very, very confident on. So then we took a secondary trade when I told everyone the TP2 area had to get rebalanced, and it did, and it sure did. So it took about, I think, 5 points, 5-point winner on the ES. So I'm pretty close to break even on my cash account. I'm down, I think, $33 on the cash on one and 25 on the other one. So the balance that you're seeing right there is the times all 7 accounts, the winner and the loser. All right, let's see what happens here now. Market's moving, though. Not a super strong direction, but it's definitely moving in and out of areas, which I enjoy. All right, so I'd like to see the NQ do break structure here one way or the other, so I could possibly come up with another setup. But right now I'm taking a look at this 24/8/15. Again, this is a play more on the lower time frame, the 1 and 5 minute. You'll see this setup play out for you on your levels. And then let me just see where the 15s are defended. Okay, well, the 12s, let's see here. So that was the footprint confirmation right here. We had a negative, we had a positive, so that swept TP1 and swept TP2, about a point away from our entry. So that was probably the initial reaction I was looking for. That was a little unfortunate. Let's see what happens here. Okay, we got the confirmation there. Could have probably gotten in there for a TP2. That was the confirmation candle. Let's see if it's got the legs now. Yep. Yeah, so missed that trade there. But got the perfect confirmation candle there. It's just a little gun shy with the initial sweep there of of my entry. Missed that at first entry by a point, but that was the move right there. But I find these all day long. I mean, these on the lower time frame are just really easy to spot, especially when you have movement like this morning. Dang, that would have been a nice little 13-point trade. So the confirmation, just so that everybody can see it, came where was it? Or maybe it wasn't the confirmation. Maybe I was looking at this one. It was just happening so quick. So this one did not give you a negative delta. This one gave you a negative delta of 50. So maybe take that back. Maybe you didn't get the confirmation. Or was it over here? Let me see. I swear I saw it. Right here. So this is where it peaked into the volume. You had a green candle, nice strong green candle on the footprint, -9 on the delta. This is what I was looking at right here. And that would have given you your TP1 and TP2. So pretty straightforward stuff, guys. Nothing super complicated. All right, get rid of that one. Let's see what else we got brewing here. All right, ES is making a push. Yeah, the market's moving. So let's keep an eye now on this one here. Let's jump over to the ES trade station here. Trading floor. Got it. Good job, Mike. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Here's another thing, guys, I'm going to let you guys in on. I talk a lot about the footprint confirmation. That's personally how I like to trade. Okay, I like to see that confirmation. You will find after watching my stream for a good amount of time that, you know, just putting your limit orders on the entry lines, targeting TP1 at the bare minimum, is going to get you a very high win rate. The way I look at it is that my footprint confirmation gives me maybe about a 3 to 4% edge, an additional edge on my trades. Okay, but even without that footprint confirmation, the win rate is going to be super high, just based on the strategy alone off of volume. That's the one indicator that's just not going to lie to you. Let me just see really quick what's the 94s doing. So the 95s has got 115 contracts, so it's an area that they're definitely interested in. They're going to have a little bit of a hard time, a little rejection here right after TP1. They're going to probably tap into TP1, and we might see a little bit of a reaction here. What I would hate to see is just an absolute explosion, but it might not necessarily be the worst thing either. And then after that, the 6700s, unfortunately, is right next to my TP. That's psychological number, so I don't believe in all that stuff, but they stack it up. The market stacks up on it pretty strongly. Let's see what we get here. So the 95s has got a lot of volume sitting there. Come on, just push it. Give me a little push here. Give me a little push right into those 95s. I know it wants it. It wants to rebalance that. Okay. Okay, let's see. Nothing yet. Ooh, that was a good confirmation right there. That was a good confirmation right there. Let's see. Come and take it. Come and take it. Come and take it. Let's see what I see here now. Yeah, I really feel like it's going to rebalance out that TP1. Feel pretty strongly about that one. But the market is pushing, man. And the 7,000s is where a lot of volume is sitting up there. So I would hate to, I don't want to put it right above the 6,700 just because, you know, you get that explosion to the upside and you got slippage, and that's just it's a bad recipe. It's a bad recipe. So currently down 3 points on this trade. Let's see here if we if it takes out this liquidity here or it wants to rebalance TP1 first, which is what I would hope it does. All right, there you go. Rebalance TP1 very nicely. Nice trade. Nice trade. I don't know what happened to my TP2 line. I did have a TP2 line set up. I don't know why they just maybe when I was putting my take profit, but that would have hit my TP2. That would have been hit the TP2 area as well. That was really strange. There you go. I think when I went to go move my TP, I might have grabbed this line too. So I don't know exactly where my TP2 is set at. If anybody in the chat remembered, but that would have hit for sure TP2 as well. So, all right, nice little trade. Green for the day now. And that's a perfect example, guys. Just, I mean, setting just a resting limit order right at the entry, targeting at least TP1 is going to get you an extremely high win rate. Extremely high win rate. All right, so we can knock off this setup for us right here. All right, let's see what else we can find. Let's see what the NQ is doing here. Let's go up. Man, I paper handed that. TP2, nicely done, Mike. All right. So we've been with that move to the upside, guys. Okay, so now this left us some clues here in the NQ. Let me mark this out in volume. Let's see, where is it? Oh, we're on the EF, sorry. All right, so this area right here that we got that really big movement out of, obviously you see that you've got now an area here that is of interest to me for sure. So now let me just drop down. All right, I found it already. Let's see. This would be the level. Right, smackaroonie right there. So entry here would be right there. Let's load that as an entry at the 24,835, and then a stop. Ooh, stop's a little interesting. Let's see. It's a little interesting. Market is moving. I love it. All right, so this one is going to be, stop would be at the 24,823. I could delete this guy now. We've already seen, you can obviously see where the high volume peak is at. That's why I've got that super highlighted. The bigger highlight here is just showing the general area of where the volume really started to pick up. And then now let's look for our TPs. Easy one right here. Load that as a TP. So that would be at the, geez. It would be at the 75. God, I wish there was a way for it to round up to the nearest tick. That would make my life so much. Look at this crap. Look at this crap. So I guess we'll put it at the 4 as an entry. And TP2. Wow. I'm going to put something out here kind of crazy, but this would be at the 70. Let's put it at the 69. I'm going to load that up as a TP. I'm going to load this up as a TP3, guys, just so this would be an area that it needs to rebalance, obviously. TP2, my more realistic target, would be right smackaroonie right there. So that would be at the 4. And then let's load that as TP. All right, so let's take a look. Let's look at this trade. We would have a long setup at the 24,834. TP1 would be at the 843. So about targeting about 10 points, one tick away from 10 points. TP2 would be the 854, and your extreme target would be this 869. We'd have to see a pretty big reaction, but it definitely needs to get rebalanced. So that would be a very likely target. Now, let's take a look at the 834 on the order book, just to kind of see. Let's see here. And sorry, guys, I've tried to figure out a way to get Bookmap on these charts. I just don't have enough real estate to actually show anything useful on Bookmap to you guys. I'll try maybe to figure it out. Like, I could switch to another screen to just show the Bookmap, but maybe that's just a solution. So right now the 34, not showing much here. Not showing much here yet on volume. So I have to keep an eye on the order book now on this 834 level to make sure that this is going to be a strong area that they're going to defend. So we'll take a look at it. All right, let's take a look at the ES real quick. All right, so the ES to the upside has a nice little situation brewing. Let's see this guy right here. But so this, you can see where my shaded area came in. It's an area of interest, but it's on the wrong side of the volume profile. Okay, I want to see it down here. So even though you might get a reaction right around the 6711 area on these peaks, it's just not a super high quality setup in my opinion. And if I had to analyze it further, just because I love doing this shit, where you would see your reaction, it does coincide right with the peak. Right, smackaroonie right there. Your level here would sit right there. So that would be at the 50. 6708.50. Load that as an entry there. Let's take this away. We'll keep an eye we'll just keep an eye on the 6708. It does form nicely on the volume profile now. So could be maybe an area where could get a little juicy for us. All right, so now that I've noticed that, now let me just kind of map out some areas that it would need to take out. Right there, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That would be at the 6705. I'll load that as a TP. It's got another target right below it, right there. That would be sitting at the 50, 6703.50. Load, TP, apply. And then as far as my stop loss is concerned, it's kind of nasty. It's kind of big. It's kind of big, but let's see here. Might not be terrible. I'm going to add this little tick there to it. All right. That's a big stop, man. It's 67.08 to the 14s. It's 6 points. You do have a very strong level of defense right here. So, yeah, shit, I can make a case for this setup. For damn sure. 3.5 points on TP1. About 5 points for TP2. Definitely make a case for it. Let's take a look at the NQ. Okay, nothing there yet. Well, we got about 4 minutes left for initial balance to be set, and let's just see where it would be set at. So right now, initial balance would be set right here. So we might have a setup there on the NQ as well. All right, give me about a 2-minute break. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. And sorry, guys, I promise you guys I will fix it on these, my trade totals. I've got a thing for session and for the actual trade that I'm in. The biggest issue that I'm having is it's a screen capture. And the only way for me to know exactly which is the right column that I got to capture is when I'm actually in a trade. So it doesn't do any good for me to do it like on the weekend or in the evening, like on a sim account, because it's not taking all of my live accounts and my funded accounts into account, which shifts all the numbers. So I'm having a really hard time figuring this out. So even though this says trade total, this is actually my session total. That's the P&L that I'm looking at for right now. We've had 2 winners and 1 loser. And the 1 loser I took was my B+ setup, so, or my B setup, but I still was able to capture about 5 points after that on that nice little move to the TP. All right, so I think we can feel safe about setting the initial high here. The IB high will be sitting right here. Let's see if I can do this. So the high is at the 60.75. 60.75. All right, that's our IB high on the NQ. And then let's take a look at the low. Again, I got an indicator that does this for me, but as you guys know, I've been having nothing but Nothing but problems with... I have some indicator on my chart that is giving me issues. It doesn't like... it's using up a resource from that a lot of the indicators use. That's kind of giving me an issue. I keep getting these error messages like this brush that's using a resource of a brush, which I think is a color. All right, let me just set this low here. Is at the 7250. So unfortunately, I kind of have to do it by hand. And I don't like doing that because that just kind of opens you up to possible errors. All right, so our IB is set on the high at the 24,960, 75. And pretty much what I'm looking for is just a footprint confirmation candle right here for a possible short. And then the same thing on the IB low, 24,672.50. Looking for a footprint confirmation to take it long. On my IB trades, I'm always targeting 15 points of take profit, 15 points of stop loss. With the footprint confirmation, you're looking at extremely high win rate. You guys saw that yesterday. It kept me out of a bad trade, which was great. But I like this trade because this trade, even on like some of the slower days that, you know, you're not getting a lot of crazy movement. It just kind of gives you something to kind of look forward to where you know that a possible setup can come. And the only reason why I trade the IB is because it coincides so well with my volume strategy. Typically, your IBs, your initial balance areas, you know, which runs from 8:30 in the morning to 9:30 in the morning Central Time, will always have a good amount of volume attached to it. So that's why that interests me. All right, now let's take a look really quick at the 834. Let me just see if it, yeah, not a lot of volume right now. Not a lot of volume right here. I'd want to see this increase on the order book before I take a lot of interest here at this 834. Remember, this was a lower time frame level. Let's see, ES doing nothing much. Let's see. Okay, 37s are coming in now. 37s are coming in. I don't see a lot of interest at the 34 yet. It's interesting to me. Yes, Key. The initial balance is the first hour of the market open. So depending on your time zone, for me, it's 8:30 to 9:30 Central Time. But I don't just trade. I mean, there's a lot of strategies for the IB. I don't trade it blindly at all. I'm looking for volume footprint confirmation on my IB trades. And when I get something that looks like a good confirmation, the win rate is through the roof on that trade, to be honest with you. All right, let's see. 37s are stacking up, but not the 34s. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we sweep the 37. We might get a tap in on the 34, but probably not going to be a great footprint confirmation there. And trust me, I can understand how, as a viewer to the channel, you would be frustrated by me talking about what I'm seeing on the depth of market level 2 book map without you guys visually seeing it. I get that would be kind of frustrating, but I just haven't figured out a good way of putting it up there, putting it on my screen. It just takes up too much real estate. I just don't have. All right, let's jump down to the NQ screen here. Let's see here. Okay, 37 just got tapped into. Let's see if we get a reaction here. Nothing yet. 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 All right, TP1 got hit. Nothing yet. Yeah, no, not. You got TP1 if you had a limit order there, but again, I just didn't get the footprint confirmation I'm looking for. That was a decent one right here, actually. Minus 20. So oh, they are stacking in though. Buyers are stacking in. Huh, interesting. Interesting. This could possibly be a play here. Let's see. Oh, thank God. So again, that's where the footprint confirmation for me saved me out of this trade. You know, if you're targeting your TP1, you got it. You hit that one for sure. Right at the 24,843. It's exactly where it tapped into, rebalanced that area. So if you had it set at TP1, good trade. If you had it set at TP2 or TP3, you know, maybe if you set it to break even, that would have been okay. But again, for me, I just didn't get the confirmation I was looking for. So again, that's a good example of me conserving capital. Buyers like this area right here, though. This 812. Let's see here. Let's see here what they need to rebalance. Looks like they just did that. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, they didn't really have to don't really have to rebalance anything much up here. They kind of went through it in a kind of a jagged way, and it doesn't show me now any clear TPs for like a possible re-entry. It could happen, obviously, but I guess no. Nothing here yet. Nothing here that I would be interested in possibly taking a, just off of the interest right here off of buyers, but Sean, do you think the footprint chart would boost your mechanical? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. But Sean, just to kind of give you full transparency, let's just take my gold trade, which I would think is probably my most singular. Is that a word? That would be the easiest setup to explain. Okay, my gold trade. It's just looking for an inside bar, bracket orders on top of the inside bar, specific time period, very specific TP, stop loss. And I feel like that is probably the most simple strategy that is out there to teach. and to show and to explain. And I still get thousands of questions and, hey, is this right on my chart? Hey, is this, you know, did I take this one at the right time? For me to incorporate the footprint confirmation on the mechanical strategy and actually show it, I think would confuse the absolute living shit out of a lot of people. But to answer your particular question, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take a look. So the ES, we got nothing to the downside, huh? Let's see, what are we looking at here on the ES? Can make a case now. I'd like to see it break some more structure, to be honest with you. I'd like to see it break at least this structure here for me to possibly look at something here or here. I'd like to see a bigger, a stronger move out. I don't see nothing to the downside, nothing to justify a long right now in the ES. I just don't see it. At least not in the next 20 points of price action. If I go beyond that, what I see would be right smackaroonie here. Let's jump to the 15 minutes so maybe we can see it. Sorry guys, I gotta sneeze. Actually, false alarm. All right, so to the downside on the ES, the only area that I see with volume that would be interesting to me would be this 6560. And if I was to narrow this one down into an actual possible setup, it would be looking something like this. 1 second here. I don't think that's going to show up nicely on the volume profile. It does not. So this is the only area that I like that had a strong movement out on the lower time frame, but again, it doesn't sit very perfect for me on the volume profile. On the 15 minute, you know, obviously when we get down to maybe the lower time frame, this price action happened on the 12th, so that was about 5 days ago. Yeah, no, it's just not an area that would interest me a shit ton right now. But probably an area that you're going to definitely see at least a reaction to, but not what I would consider to be the greatest setup as of right now. So yeah, unfortunately on the ES, I don't really see much close to us below us. I don't. If we go back to the NQ, we've got a setup here on the ES on the long side, or on the short side. That looks pretty juicy. I could delete this guy. We're done with this guy. So we've got IB low that I'll be looking at, the 24,672.50. And then we got the IB high at the 24,960. As far as actual setups on the NQ currently, we've just got this one to the top side at the 25,231. But price action is going to have to make a pretty drastic drop to get to that. But it can. It can. Now, I will say, I want you guys to pay attention here real quick. Let me drop down to the 15. Let me see if the 15 will show this a little better. Okay. If you take a look at our IB low today, which is the initial balance low from the market this morning from 8:30 to 9:30, first hour of the market, however you guys want it, whatever time frame you guys are, I'm sorry, whichever time zone that you guys are located in. I want you to also to see and coincide an area here at the 24,672. There is going to be an absolute shit ton of volume that is going to be stacked up here just by default, because this has been the area, the line in the sand that the market has had a really hard time getting through. So it's had seen a lot of reactions right here. Okay. And then this is on the 15. If you jump down to the 5-minute, you're probably going to see even a lot more reactions to it. So here's the only issue that I see with taking a long here. Yes, traditional thinking of how markets react, you've got an area that's previously been resistance or support. So you kind of have that confluence kind of built into it, or that maybe that psychology of traders looking at charts and saying, okay, well, this is an area that market should see support on. But you have to be extremely careful too here, because this is a huge volume liquidity area right here. So you can maybe see a really big explosion at this point. Yes, if you get a footprint confirmation to the upside, you can get a very, very nice big move to the upside. But you can also get swept really quickly with a 15-point stop loss. So you kind of have to be really careful with this IB low set here today, just because of where exactly it's sitting at. Okay, that scares the shit out of me. When I changed it from the 15 to the 1, did my chart just... No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. All right. Let's see what the ES is doing. ES is just kind of meandering here, not doing much. Would love to see this setup come into play. Maybe we get a strong little push there. Questions. Let's see. It's a great time for questions. That we got a small little break here, so let's see what. Leave it on the NQ. So my value area high and low is set. My value area is in gray, and then my high value high is set in the blues, blue shaded. Again, we're on a lower time frame right now, so we're on the 1 minute. I was shooting for the moon with TP3, but had my strat set to move stop loss to break even once TP was hit, so I broke even. Nice, nice. And again, and I'll try to do my best as to when we start getting into close to the entry, to kind of let you know what's happened between TP2 and entry, which is extremely important. Remember, I kind of explained this yesterday, but if you have been following how I come up with my levels, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for an actual level, like on the 1 minute time frame, that would qualify as a level, meaning that it had a strong push, broke some kind of structure. And if I see that, then I feel really confident in going right back into that area to balancing out the volume that was left in that kind of candle. So, and if you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, I know in all my videos, but I believe also on the stream, if somebody can verify and comment for me, that would be great. I believe that I've got the videos marked off, it's a 3 series video that I produced, One that teaches you how I map out my levels each and every morning. Two is how I incorporate the volume profile. And number three, it's called the secret sauce, which is kind of like how I incorporate all three of them. You know, there's a lot more to it than, you know, the small nuances to things. And, you know, I think eventually I would like to organize all of that and put it out to have a more structured learning of my strategy and how I trade each and every morning. But the problem that I have with that promise that I just made of trying to tell you is, again, my eyes are also focusing in on the footprint chart. I'm looking at the order book. So I got a lot of I've got you guys that I need to talk to. So there's a lot of things that are kind of going on at the same time. So I might tell you, okay, well, TP2 now looks really good. As you guys heard in the second trade that I took, I'm like, it has to rebalance TP2, and that's exactly what it did. You know, so I'll try to give you that commentary before the trade, definitely during the trade, but there's just a lot that is kind of going on at the same time. And I'll put in the chat now another resource for you guys. Two things. One is to join the Discord. It's free. I post my levels each and every morning. So these are my 15-minute and my 5-minute levels that I spot from previous day's price action. And so that's a huge help for those people that are really trying to learn the strategy, because it kind of reinforces that at least you know that you're putting the levels in the right spot. And then there's going to be there's confirmation of those levels based on where it sits on the volume profile. So there's more things that go into it, but the initial basic step is to find the key levels that we are looking for. And in Discord every morning, it takes me about 30 minutes to plot those out. It's a time commitment on my part, and I've been doing that for about 2 years, every single morning. So that's a good resource. The resource that I just dropped in the chat, which is that's a link to my website. When you click on that link, the first thing you're going to see on the homepage is, hey, if you want to receive my weekly bands and my tradable levels, it's an email that gets sent out every Sunday, and all you got to do is put your name and your email, and you'll receive that. And you're not spamming people. It's one email per week. A lot of people have asked me for a second email from Wednesday because I give a midweek review. So I adjust the bands and the tradable levels as I see fit. And a lot of people have asked me, send me another email on Wednesday, but there's 1,100 people on that list, and I just don't want to be, you know, for you to be, I think it's value. I mean, there's resource in there. But as of right now, it's once a week. So that's a resource. What else we got to talk about? Here, I'll drop this one in the chat too. Copy. Tradeify is running a 40% off sale. Believe that's till the 20th. So, and you also get an entry into some Grand Cup that they're going to be running. Tradeivate with their new prop, Tradeivate prop, I guess it's called. It's kind of enabled. It's kind of interesting. They've enabled this kind of like Robin's Cup type of challenge that, as a creator or as a content creator, or I assume anyone, but I'm not sure, you can kind of come up with your own challenge with prizes and stuff like that. And I've seen some of the influencers that have been running that, and now Tradeify jumped on that one as well. So they give you a free entry into that, and it's gimmicky, but at the same time, I kind of think it's kind of cool to see how you might stack up to other people, for the good or the bad. As far as what I'm trading with today, currently, I've got 2 live NinjaTrader cash accounts that I trade. So my main account that I'm taking trades on Every day I have it labeled as Rob Live main. So I've got a main cash account. I've got a secondary cash account that I added a couple years ago. And I talked about it in depth yesterday in the stream, just as a scaling option. So I can kind of keep the size of my trades the same, but just now multiplying it by 2. And then I've got 5 funded accounts that I am also the cash accounts, the main cash account copy trades to 5 other funded accounts. I've got 3 with funded ticks. I've got 1 with Tradeify, and I've got 1 with Take Profit Trader. Take Profit Trader. Yeah, that's right. So when you're seeing the totals up on my screen, that is on all of my accounts, my 2 cash and my 5. I do have I have a 3rd cash account with Iron Beam. And I typically trade that one just with my IB trades. I love to see that. I'd like to have that separated. But Iron Beam does integrate with NinjaTrader. You can also trade it on TradingView. They got very low margin requirements. So it's a nice, if you're thinking about doing the scaling option that I talked about yesterday, which I think is a fantastic way to trade. It's okay, the NQ looks like it's wanting to make a little move here. NQ looks like it wants to make a little bit of a move here. It's a great way. I mean, even if let's just say that we're talking about micros here for a second. You know, let's say you trade with like 3 micros and you've got 3 cash accounts attached to your trading into your trading platform. 3 micros, let's say on the NQ, you target $50. Okay, $40. You now have made $150 for the day, and you haven't adjusted your quantity size. You haven't adjusted your risk. You're trading your exact same strategy that hopefully you have confidence in. And you'll start to see that those small scaled wins over a 30, 60, 90-day period is going to add up. It'll give you a payout. It might pay your phone bill. It might pay your rent. It might pay your, depending on your size. I mean, I'm trading on the E-mini on my cash accounts. So for me, if I take a trade with just for 3 points on the ES, that's a $300 day. Yesterday, I think I made $320 cash. I made $1145 in total through all of my accounts. But you do that on repeat, 3 points. I mean, shit, I had 5 points on the second trade. If I would have taken the A+ setup there, done for the day. I probably would have ended the stream at that point because I don't want to overtrade. I'll leave you guys with the setups, but I personally don't want to change the way I trade for the stream. That's the main goal. I talked about that to my wife. I don't want to adjust anything that I wouldn't do on a normal day basis just for value entertainment. I'm not here to lose money. That's for damn sure. And I'm using real capital. So, rest assured that, I've got a lot of skin in the game into my trades. So I'm not here just for the wows and the likes. I'm here to make some money. All right, so let's see what's going on the NQ here. It's kind of sifting through a pretty high volume little pocket here. Man, we're gonna get a reaction here. I can tell you that IB low is going to. This is gonna be a nutty one. All right, but now let's take a look at the NQ. So on the NQ, now we just broke structure here. We've got a pocket right there. Let's see. I don't like where it sits on the pocket, though. That's the problem. This is where the initial push came out of, right here. I just don't like, if you look at it on the volume profile, it's on the back side of the profile, so it's not the greatest right there. You could make a case. You could make a case for right here, but it's kind of a shitty case. So right at this peak right here, you're gonna see a reaction, but nothing super fantastic. I don't like it. I don't like it. Don't like it. But so I'll keep these shaded areas on the screen. I can take away the big one. So the area that I would be looking at is at the bottom of these shaded areas, okay, where volume starts to kind of peak out here. This one up here, I don't like this one at all. But this one here, you're gonna probably see a reaction to. I just can't find a good take profit, and at the same time, the market could have a very high likelihood of wanting to tap into this as well. So for me, it's just probably a C+ setup, to be honest with you. You might get the reaction that you're looking for, but you could probably get 5-6 points out of that, maybe more. But again, I'm looking for A++. Rob, check this site. Which site? Rob, check this site. Does this bookmap volume match yours on ES? Where did you put the link to the site or the name of the site? Key 39. Oh, let's take a look here real quick. Let's see. I won't be trading this, but I'll show you guys, see if we get the footprint confirmation at least. Let's see what happens here. This is where, okay, blew right through there. Let's see if this is now the area that it wants to tap into, which would be this area right here. But again, I mean, I see it. It's hard for me to explain it, but I see it. Why I don't like it. Okay, they defended this area here a little bit. Would have probably got you about 7-8 points, maybe 6 points. Yeah, beautifully done. Beautifully not done, I should say. And again, that's how I build my confidence in finding what I would consider to be a setup and saying this is the setup that I don't like. And then when it comes to fruition and it actually blows through those levels, it just adds to the confidence that I'm seeing the market in a decent way. All right, so for right now, we're looking at possibly taking a look at the IB high-low on the NQ, kind of just sitting right in the middle of the range for today. And then on the ES, we've got a setup sitting above us at the 67.0850 for a possible short down to the 67.05 or the 67.03. And I am going to refill my cup of coffee. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Market's pretty much just been sitting right at the halfway point of initial balance on the NQ. Refilled my coffee, and this is like the nectar of the gods. I don't know if you guys, has anybody tried in the chat? Maybe tried some Cuban coffee. Cuban coffee, guys, I'm telling you. For trading, you need to wake up in the morning, 2 cups of this, and you're on some serious, on a serious high. That's for sure. When I go down to our place in Florida, there's this Cuban restaurant that's it's called Little Havana. It's in Deerfield Beach, which is where we have our place, and they make the absolute greatest Cuban coffee I've ever had in my entire life. It is fantastic. So about a year ago, we found, I used the Keurig. We found these pods that is called Café Bustelo, which is it's a Cuban coffee. It's the ones that all the restaurants use. It's obviously not as concentrated, but as how they make it, because they make it on a press. But man, that'll supercharge your mornings. That will supercharge, and it tastes so damn good. So I purchased, we visit our place down in Florida probably about 4 to 5 times per year, and then I'll take some smaller trips. I just took my dad, actually this last weekend, just me, my dad, and my youngest daughter. She was off of school Friday and Monday for Columbus Day. I think Friday was like a teacher institute or something like that. So we went down. And if you guys remember, I think during the challenge, my 30-day challenge that I was doing mechanical versus how I trade here, I was just having an absolute terrible time with my charts on my previous laptop. I got 2 laptops. I got an IBM ThinkPad, which is what I use for work when I got to kind of be a little bit remote. And then I have a Acer Nitro Gaming that I probably bought for my son about 3 years ago from Costco, which is great. That will run it. It's got an NVIDIA card, but it'll only support one external monitor. It's the dumbest thing in the world. I've looked at every single solution with adapters. It just will not. It doesn't have that USB-C powered port for external monitors. So I was forced to use the ThinkPad to get the multiple monitor setup that I already have set up at my place. But man, the second you've got Ninja Bookmap, it'll run somewhat smooth, but the second you put the recording software on, it lags. I mean, it's unusable. Just to even get into an order, like a market order, it was extremely difficult. It was very frustrating. So this last weekend, when we were down there, I went to Costco and I purchased a MSI laptop, which I love. My desktop upstairs is MSI. The one down here I built, but it has an NVIDIA 5070 graphics card in there, AMD 9000 series processor, 32 gigs of RAM, which I already bought the other 32 to take it up to 64. And it's just got multiple monitor capabilities. So now when I travel down to our place, I think I could still continue the streams. The trading should be easy. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Wasn't cheap, but again, it's kind of a small investment into the business, trading business, I guess. right, so as I mentioned earlier, we're moving into this NQ IB low possible setup. So my setup here would be looking for, and I'm not correlating this so much with the volume profile. I already know that this is going to be an area that's going to have a shit ton of liquidity each and every day. You're going to have a good fair amount of liquidity, a volume sitting at your IB high or low. Today, I think there's going to be a particularly big amount because of what I explained to you guys earlier. If you look at on the 15-minute chart, this IB low today coincides with an area of huge support for the NQ. Okay, so it's just been an area that it's had a really difficult time kind of getting through. Obviously, this is probably news, I'm assuming. I don't really know. That was a big push right there. But it's a constant area. So that even reinforces the thought process that this is going to be a high volume liquidity area. So the reason why let's see if it, yeah, I don't know, the chart looks, the trade management system indicator I have, it's a little funky when I move time frames, but still seems to be working okay. So again, when it gets down to this IB, what I'm looking for on my daily setup is, again, just a footprint confirmation. I'm looking, in this particular case, if we were to get a movement to the downside, I would like to tap into the IB low. And then on the footprint, I'd like to see a green footprint candle, something like this right here, but with a negative delta. That is my confirmation to go long. The bigger the negative delta with a green footprint candle, the stronger the move is going to be. It's just an added piece. It's like a bonus confirmation. Now, I will tell you, maybe even you'll see it today if we get down there. It just seems like the market wants to kind of just range here in the middle, which it is a Friday. I don't think there was no new headline news here today. Besides what Trump might talk about with the, I just shot Cuban coffee right into my eye. Well, now my eyes are going to be electrified. So good. So good. The issue that we might see if we get down to the IB low at that 24,672 number is because we have just a typical area that you're going to see a lot of volume. You might now, because of the added confluence of it being directly on a line where you have a lot of previous support, probably a lot of stop losses sitting there, it just might even be more explosive of a line. So the footprint chart can get a little crazy during those periods, and it's just about how quick you can be. And I'm going to give you guys another thing that you guys don't see. You guys don't visually see this, but if you look at my footprint chart here, it's only showing about 5 candles, okay? And this is not what I want. I typically, when I trade upstairs on my normal trading station, this is on a big chart, on a big screen that's showing 30 candles, okay? Which makes it a lot easier for me to visually see. But again, for the stream, I've got to condense this area here so that you can see both of these screens at the same time. So I'm kind of limiting even myself on the footprint chart, because if I was to expand it on my other monitor, this thing would blow out, and I mean, it would be unviewable for you guys on the stream to even see it. So there's some nuances that comes with streaming this, but as of right now, to me it seems like you guys are getting at least the gist of it. All right, so to recap, I think go back to the main screen here. On the NQ, the only setup that I've got kind of situated is a short at the 25,231, targeting the 25,222. Again, that's pretty high up in price action right now, so I don't necessarily think that that's an area that we'll revisit here today. But currently, I'm just looking out for the IB high, IB low to get taken out. Maybe get a footprint confirmation for a nice scalp to the upside. To me, this would seem, the IB low would seem like the most logical place for the market wanting to test out, to open auctions and see what the market might want to do. On the ES, I think we have a beautiful setup here to the short. And if you guys remember at the beginning part of the stream, I even told you I don't feel like it's going to want to visit this today or just yet. There was just a shit ton of volume that it needed to rebalance right here, which it did. And now it's just looking for, the next area now. It's looking for the next area that it can conduct a good amount of business. That's all that the market does every single day. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to find really small areas that I can conduct business with the market, just move with it slightly, and take my 3 to 5 points on the ES, my 10 to 15 points on the NQ, and I am as happy as a clam. So, but yeah, that setup on the ES looks really, really juicy. And let's take a look here. So we had an area that we left right here. We broke structure. So this is a possible area that I'll highlight right there that I'm going to look into. But as of right now, we're getting kind of close to this IB, and I'd like to focus in on this one to see. Let's see what. Well, I can tell you right now, there's nothing in this area. Nothing in this high volume area that I'm interested in, primarily because of this pullback right here. Nothing's clean. Nothing is super clean to me right there. So I can take that one right off my chart. Now to the downside. We've got something brewing at the 24,523. Might have this right here, this shaded area that's attached to this value node. Sorry, not value node. To this volume node right here. This looks really interesting. So I'll play this one, or I'll map this one out before we finish up the stream here today. But for right now, I just want to concentrate on this IB right here. Nate, I do golf. I love golf. I'm just not good at it. So, yes, if you'd like me to invite me out to, if you're located in the Chicagoland area, I'd be happy to golf with someone that watches the stream. Michael, you are so right. That first, I mean, sometimes I go to bed. I go to bed and think about the first sip of coffee. That's how much excitement I put into it. Let me see what's going on here. attention here now too. It is a huge cup, and it's my second one. It's my second one. Granted, I only get about 4.5 hours of sleep every night. I typically go to bed around 12:31, and I'm up at like 5. That's just the way that my body is set. So I rely pretty strongly on the coffee, the Cuban coffee. So Kelly, I'm reading Kels 812. I'm reading your earlier comment about not liking to take trades at the POC. Yeah, it might be some traditional wisdom. And the reason being is that you are going into an area where the auction had its point where it felt like the value was the fairest. Okay, both buyers and sellers were in agreement in an area of the market in regards to price. So that typically becomes your point of control. And there's some wisdom there to kind of avoid the actual point of control because of the fact that there's such a fairness in the price that you're not typically not going to get a strong reaction one way or the other, or you just might kind of zigzag in the market for a little bit. But what I can tell you is a few things. One, the depth of market Bookmap, that's where it becomes extremely important because you can see who's stacking up at what areas. You can see the interest below you and above you as to if you're thinking about maybe possibly taking a short, you want to see the sellers stacking up on top of you so that you've got that momentum to the downside. So that'll help you there. And then 2, I'm not looking for huge moves on the ES. I'm looking for 3 to 5 points. The point of control will actually be a very decent area to capture those smaller movements, those range movements, because it's typically what you do at the point of control is, it ranges, it's fulfilling its auction in the market and satisfying both sides of the market. And the footprint chart there will help you out tremendously. So it'll give you maybe a little bit added confidence around those point of controls. Traditional wisdom will tell you it's, to maybe stay away from them. If you've got the right tools behind you, you can definitely trade the point of control. I mean, be honest with you, you can almost make a living off of that little area too. Depending on your risk to reward, if you've got a pretty decent risk profile, let's say maybe 7 to 10 points on the ES. I mean, the risk to reward is going to suck, but your win rate is going to go through the roof just because of the area. It's going to be a very rangy area, and in ranges, you test the low, you test the high, so you've got a pretty decent chance of hitting your TPs. All right, so I kind of have a hard cutoff here in the next like 5 to 10 minutes. Got an appointment at noon. And it's about an hour away from me, so I went on a listing appointment. And this just looks really, really rangy. I mean, we broke out a little bit from the middle point of our IB area, high and low. And it just kind of wants to kind of sit there. But mark my words, it's going to want to tap into that area. It's just the easiest pocket of volume that it's going to find. Let's see what the 72s. Yeah, 72s has got. They're stacked up pretty good. $25, 725 is. What's going on at the 25s? 24,725 has got an absolute boatload of contracts sitting. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. Right now, the 70s. The 70s is the area. Right here. This is kind of the area that I said I didn't like. I think. Let me just make sure. Why are they so interested in this area? The 70s, the 70s, 70s. Oh, it's a stop loss area. Yep, the 24,870s is a stop loss area, so I don't put a lot of weight into that. It's a very tricky place to trade from. Come on. Doesn't need here an extra, well, it needs about 30 points to get down to IB. No, it needs about 40 points now. It's about 50 points now. 60 points now. I don't know. I don't know if we'll see it. We'll see. Did you check that site? No, I think I asked you for the name of the site. Did you put it in the chat? Because I didn't see. Let me look back through the chat. I could have swore. No, I don't see where you named the actual site. I mean, I can be completely missing it, but just put the name of the site again for that order book. I think it was that you were talking about for the NQ. And as another thing too is if you do get the footprint, if you enroll or add the option of the level 2 data and the volume plus that you need in NinjaTrader, or if you have a lifetime license, you've got this already built in. There is a Bookmap. It's what's it called? Volume market depth indicator. There is an indicator that you can put on your chart, and I watched a YouTube video maybe about 6 months ago on how to replicate what Bookmap kind of looks like, and you can get really close to what Bookmap looks like through NinjaTrader. It's not as clean. It's not beautiful. You know, Bookmap has a lot of really cool things that come with it, but if you add the feature of the footprint charts, you can replicate Bookmap pretty nicely. Tomorrow on Monday when I start the stream, I'll maybe give you guys the link to that YouTube video that kind of explains it really well. The guy goes through all of the settings to kind of replicate what Bookmap looks like on NinjaTrader, and it's not bad. I don't have it down here. I have it upstairs. I have it on my computer upstairs. I could have kind of shown you guys a representation of it, but I don't have it on my computer down here. 1 minute. The name of this is 1 Minute Futures Trader. All right. All right. So when I jump off stream here, I'll take a look at that site. I'll see what I'll give you some feedback on Monday. All right, so Now that I got a little bit of time, let me mark up this setup here so that I can leave you guys with, I think this is the one that we already, anyway, I think we already hit that one. Yep. Left that one to show you guys here in the morning. So I guess to not confuse people, let me just make sure that that's one that we hit last night or this morning. Was it the 24, 488? 24, oh. This might be a setup that we came up with yesterday. Okay. Wondering where the hell this one came from. So we've got a setup here. Just make sure that we're getting kind of close to IB again. Just I can't. I don't want to miss it either. There we go. Let's see what happens. $72s. Yeah, it's got a good big absorption by sellers right now. Let's see here. Just be very careful on the initial crossover of the IB, just because of the fact that there's going to most likely be a very good amount of stops in that vicinity. So you might get an explosive move there. This one came about 2 points away, I would assume. 3 points on that push. Come on. Didn't tap into it, so it's gonna probably want to come and rebalance it. Right now it's looking for the 24,716. That's where, right here, this is an area that it wants to probably rebalance what it just conducted right here. Points more. I think the 16 is where it really wanted to, but let's see. It's not finished here, that's for sure. I personally feel like it's going to have to take out the 716 before it revisits there. I could be wrong, but that to me seems like the most logical thing that the market might want to do. Okay, back up to the 710s. 716 is where I think it has to want to rebalance. There you go. Rebalance that area. Now let's see if it wants to shoot back down to the IB. So about 3 points here. 3 points off. All right, let me take a look now at this setup so I can leave you guys here with another setup to look at. So we've got a take profit area right here. Another take profit area right here. there. Entry. And a stop loss. Let's get these loaded up. This would be your... I don't even know which one. That's my entry. Entry. Load. Tree. Sorry, you can't even see it, can you? Right there. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me get these pretty for you. This one's going to be at the 75. And that's going to be green for my TP. Load. TP. Same thing with this guy. Get the 50s. Load. TP. And then my stop loss, which would be 16 by 16. Template load is. Okay, let's just see what market's doing here. Let me just jump at the ES. Made a nice little push there. Okay. All right, guys, so this is what I'm going to be leaving here, you guys, with on the NQ. Long setup at the 24, 523, 50. That would be my entry. TP1 at the 24, 531. TP2 at the 24, 536. With a stop at the 24, 516. Got a secondary setup down here. We mapped this one, I believe, yesterday at the 24, 446. With a TP1 of 24, 452 and a TP2 of 24, 457. Stop loss sitting at the 24, 436. The play I was looking for, obviously, the closest would have been the IB plays. We came very, 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 very close. 3 points away from tapping into the IB, but we missed it. Yeah. But more than likely, I feel very strongly that I think they're going to have to rebalance this. This just seems like the least amount of resistance to get what they want. There's just not enough out of this auction, the auction process that happened right here. I don't think it was enough for them to rebalance this area first. And then above us on the NQ, we've got a short that's looking at the 25, 231 down to a TP of 25, 222, secondary TP of 25, 217. The ES, we really got a really nice setup. And this one is what I would consider to be A++. Short at the 6708.50. TP1 6705, TP2 6703 with a stop loss at 6714. I know the stop's a little bit big, but you could probably bring this down to maybe a point to get you right at this last peak on the volume profile. But that's what I see. That's just what price action is telling me. All right, well, I think I'm gonna. Let's see, Mike, up 400 in cash account and 500 in funding ticks. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Fantastic, man. I wish I was up the same. I'm up 287 for the day. 2 winners, 1 loser. First loser was my B setup. You know, I can make a case for it if I should have taken it or not. I did get a decent confirmation candle, but I was able to at least take that same similar setup and turn it into a 5-point winner. By realizing that the line in the sand had been met by buyers, and there was an area exactly at my TP2 that needed to get rebalanced. So that was my methodology of getting into that trade. And then we had a really nice third trade there that got me finally into the green for the day. So with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoy the weekend. Please, before I get off, just really quickly hit the like on the stream. It's just a finger click, or if you're on your phone, just hit the like button. It helps it out tremendously. We don't really ask for much here, but that does help out. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'll see you guys all Monday. I might be on earlier on Monday, might be starting at about 7:30 or 7:45, but you'll get the notification. If you've got the notification and subscribe to the channel, you'll get that information. If you are going to be purchasing any evaluations, funded accounts with any of the prop firms that you see the banner on the side of your screen, just use the code TraderRob, small help to the channel. And I'm having a shit ton of fun with this stream. You know, I knew it was going to be a big time commitment, but I'm actually having fun doing it. So that is making it really worth it. I'm actually looking forward to waking up in the morning to being on with you guys. So the second I feel it becomes a chore, then it might be a different story, but I really enjoyed it. So thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. Take care.